Hey y'all, welcome back to Two Fat Girls. It's me, Mandy. Um, I meant to do this vlog a whole lot earlier today, and it didn't happen because other stuff happened. And now I've got a headache, and I'm like, I need to just do this vlog before it gets any worse. And I'll tell you the reason I have a headache is because um, I've been trying to just use my laptop for a while and maybe see if I don't really need a PC. Um, and I can't do it because this laptop is entirely too small. And my monitor is like 2 times the size of this laptop screen. And I can't do it. I can barely use this laptop for 30 minutes before I don't have a headache. And I do wear glasses, and I probably should wear my glasses, but I don't wear my glasses. So, you know, whatever. That's enough of me whining about my computer problems. But anyway, I'm going to do songs that make me cry today. Yesterday, Mindy McCready died, and Mindy McCready was a country singer, and I loved, I can really only think of 2 songs of hers from the 90s. One of them was Guys Do It All the Time, and the other one was 10,000 Angels. And she committed suicide. She had a lot of problems. And it was really sad. It made me sad because that was a piece of my childhood that just, died. And in the 10,000 Angels video, she had this gorgeous, brown colored lipstick on. And I was obsessed with finding the color of this lipstick when I was young. I want to say I was in 7th or 8th grade. And I bought so many different shades of brown from Walmart that I had seriously 15 flesh colored lipsticks, and none of them looked like hers, and I would never wear them. I'd buy them and I'd try them on that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. And I had so much flesh tone brown colored lipstick, and I never did find her color. But anyway, I was watching the 10,000 Angels video, and then on the sidebar on YouTube, it recommends all these other videos, so I just start clicking other videos. And this song came up, and I hadn't heard it in forever, and it kind of brought a tear to my eye when I listened to it. And I'm like, you know what? I finally need to get around to finishing my list for songs that make me cry. I've got 7 songs on here. I may only talk about 6 because if I start talking about one of them, I might actually really cry. So we'll see if I can get to that one. If not, whatever. So the number 1 was a song that popped up last night, and it's by Confederate Railroad, which is a country band. And it's called When You Leave That Way, You Can Never Go Back. And this song, all of these songs except for one are all songs that impacted me in my youth and made me cry, when I was really young. So every time I hear these songs, I can't help but remembering how I felt when I was that little and I heard these songs. I haven't heard a song in a really, really long time that's made me cry. Honestly. Honest fact. All these songs are from when I was really young. So When You Leave That Way, You Can Never Go Back. It starts out, of course, it's a country song, so they'll have a story. But it starts out, and he lives at home with his parents, obviously, on this farm. And him and the dad never get along. And one day, he gets into a fight with his dad, and he hits him. The son hits the dad, and he leaves. And so the chorus is always, "You leave that way, you can never go back." He left on a bad note. He can't go back. So in the second verse, he talks about he meets a woman, and they're going to get married, and she ends up pregnant, and he leaves her at the altar. He never shows up. And then the last verse is he's talking about, there's the bridge, and he's saying, he wished he could see his son. He wishes he could go back to his parents and apologize and all this other stuff. But he can't do that because he got caught sleeping with a married woman, and he shot the husband. So he's on death row. And that's how the song ends. And it's really sad, which I was a little when I heard it last night, it made me a little teary-eyed just because it brings back that emotion of the first time I heard it. But if I heard it today, it wouldn't make me cry. But it is a very, very sad song. Another song that I just remembered, I need to write it down. it's a Sawyer, well, I'll go ahead and tell you. Another song is a Sawyer Brown song, and it's called The Walk. I won't get too much into it, but that song makes me cry even now, because I don't like songs about old people. I just don't. Oh, and that song is so good, and it's the first verse is talking about the dad is taking the son, putting him on the bus, and he's talking about the walk to the bus, and he's saying, you got to get on it. And then the third verse, what's it talking about? I can't remember what the third verse is, but it's the little boy is talking about his own son, and he's remembering what his dad told him. And then the very last verse is about the son taking his dad to like a retirement home, and he's saying, it's okay, son, it's okay, I know where we're going. And and it's called The Walk. Oh my gosh, that's gonna make me cry right now, because it makes me, woo, yeah, that one's sad. Okay, the third song is called Feed Jake. It's by Pirates of the Mississippi. When I first heard this song, and me and Tiffers, like this song always reminds me of Tiff too, because we both like cried at that time. But it is actually way more than just about his dog, and we didn't realize that until we were adults, that the song was more than just him wanting someone to take care of his dog if he died. Like the beginning of it, he's leaving this person that he loves because, he's basically telling her, you've got my heart, but music's got my soul. He's leaving her. And then he's saying, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, feed Jake. He's been a good dog. And so then he's talking about, like gay people and homeless people, and nobody wants to take care of them, and you should, and it doesn't matter, if you're gay or you're straight, but it always goes back to the chorus of, feed Jake. It's almost like he's thinking on his life, or he's thinking about stuff, but the one important thing that he really wants, he's like, okay, I don't like this, I missed you, chick, but if anything happens to me, somebody needs to feed my dog, And I listen to it now, and it's not as sad as when I was young and I thought it was all about his dog. The video is kind of sad too. The video is about him going back to his friend's funeral, and he's seeing all this stuff, and he's going back to his friend's funeral, and he's getting a dog. So the video makes it sad too. But until I was an adult, I never really realized what this song was about. The next one is called Lightning by Eric Church, and this is another song about the death penalty. And at the end of this song, somebody else is going to get executed. But he's talking about, he's on death row, and he's basically telling you the story of how he gets on death row. And he shot somebody. He went to rob this store because he needed money to buy his little girl milk. She was hungry. So he gets in there, and he's going to rob the place. And the gas station, or the attendant, whoever was there, he pulled a gun on him. And so he had to shoot him, is what he says. He pulled a gun on me, I shot him. So he gets put on death row, and he's talking about how his daughter's there and how the mother of the person that he shot is there. And then at the very, very end, which is a part that will almost give you goosebumps, it stops for a second, it gets quiet, and then when the song picks back up, it's just him in acoustic singing. And it's kind of, it's a little... It'll give you... I didn't necessarily cry the first time I heard it, but it gave me those goosebumps, like, ooh, it gives you something to think about. Next, these two songs are songs that my mom listened to when I was really young. Sorry, I have to shift. My freaking back hurts sitting on this floor. So, okay. These two songs my mom used to listen to, like, way back in the day, when I was really young. She got this thing, I remember her seeing it on the TV, and she's like, had my dad call this 1-800 number so she can get this. But it was CDs, and it started from 1969 to 1979, and it was all the hits of the 70s. And it was like one CD per year, and like each CD has like 20-something songs on it. And so she would get a CD a month And she was like so freaking excited every time these CDs would come in the mail. And, then we would jam them. And, that's why I know as much 70s music as I know is because of these CDs. And she still has all of them. Actually, I have a lot of them, to be honest with you. And one of the first songs I remember vividly from these CDs is a song called Patches by Clarence Clearwater. I'm pretty sure that's his last name. I have it written down. No, Clarence Carter. My bad. I don't know where that came from. Clarence Carter. He sings a really good song called Slip Away that I absolutely love. And I actually think that I have like baby making music, and I'm pretty sure that song is on there. And this song is called Patches, and it's about a boy. And he said, like, his nickname was Patches because he looked real ragged. He was tall and he was thin, and they had this farm, and his dad worked it, and he worked it. And one day, his dad's dying, and he tells Patches, he's like, Patches, you're the man of the family now. You have to take care of everything. And, he's like, Patches, I'm dependent on you. And so the dad dies, and then he tells his mom, he's like, I want to quit school because he's got to take care of this farm, and he's got to do all this stuff before he goes to school, and he's tired, he can't do it all. And his mom's like, no, that's the one thing your dad wouldn't want you to do is, to leave school. And so, he would say, he would remember his dad saying, Patches, I'm dependent on you. And so then at the end, a big rain comes and it washes away all his crops, and they don't have nothing, And he was saying he was only 13 years old, and that was the day he became a man because, what was he going to do? And it really doesn't say what he does. It just says, like his mom's dead now, and all the other kids are grown up, but he always remembers, which is a part that, like, it's kind of like, ooh, it gives me like goosebumps, is, the very end of the song, he's just repeating what his dad was saying, Patches, I'm dependent on you, son. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I could not even imagine. And I remember hearing that song and crying. And I told my mom, I'm like, I don't like that song. I don't like that song. So she would never play it. And the same goes for this song too. I told her I don't like that song and I don't ever want to hear it again. And I have never heard that song again until I was like, you know what, if I'm going to talk about this song, I need to listen to it again. And come to find out, this has been covered by lots of people. Sammy Davis Jr. covered it, and I can't remember who else. But the version that she had on her 70s CDs was the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and I want to say this was from 70 or 71, and it was like a pretty decent hit for him. And it's Mr. Bojangles. Oh my gosh, that song! Even last night I was listening to it, and I'm like, I don't even know what's so sad about it. But I told my mom, I'm like, I don't ever want to hear that song again, because we listened to it in the car, and I was sitting in the back seat, and I'm like, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible childhood memory, Mr. Bojangles. But Mr. Bojangles, the guy is like telling Mr. Bojangles' story, and he meets Mr. Bojangles in a jail in New Orleans. And Mr. Bojangles dances, and he's really light on his feet, and he's basically a homeless drunk is what he is. And the part that like put me over the edge was Mr. Bojangles. Like, he basically worked for tips and for drinks is what he did. And he danced, and he had a dog, and his dog, I guess, was like part of his act, and the dog died. Okay, but in the song, they just say it so bluntly. He's like, the dog up and died. He up and died. And like, that's what I remember most vividly about this song. And when I was little, sitting in the back seat, I could almost imagine this man like dancing in this jail, because the song is very vivid and very descriptive. And, if I'm like freaking 10 years old listening to this song, and I just had like, to me, I still even have like a very vivid memory of how I imagine him in my head dancing in this jail cell with really light feet, missing his dog. Like, that song makes me weep, and I don't. Yeah, I've heard it twice in my life, and the first time was in the backseat of my mom's car, and the second time was last night when I was doing the research and writing all this stuff down for you guys so I could talk about it. Oh my gosh, that song makes me want to cry right now. And then last song, I'll go ahead and talk about it because I don't feel that bad right now. This song, we played this song at my grandpa's memorial service when he passed away. And you guys are probably going to laugh, but it's a Ricky Martin song. And Ricky Martin, the CD that has, or the album that has, Livin' La Vida Loca on it, was one of my favorite CDs when I was young. That CD came out, when did it come out? I was in 8th or 9th grade maybe, and I mean, Ricky Martin was everywhere, and he was hot as fuck. Gay, straight, I don't care. That man is freaking fine as hell. Oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. He is still gorgeous. Everybody loved Ricky Martin, okay? And I love that entire album. I love that album. I played the hell out of that thing. Well, there's a song on there, and it's called Private Emotion, and it's a duet that he sings with this other woman, with this other girl. I don't really know what her name is. I can't remember. And I remember I was sitting at my granny and grandpa's house, and my grandpa loved to listen to music. He loved to watch music videos. And we were sitting at the house, and he was flipping between like VH1 and CMT, and that video came on, the Ricky Martin song came on, and he's like, I remember he like pointed at the TV, and he's like, what is this song? He's like, that is a beautiful song. He's like, I like that. And I was telling him, I'm like, that's Ricky Martin. I'm like, I've got that CD. And we had bought him a CD player so he could listen to his own music. And I would make him like mix CDs, and he had like all these country ones. And he would just like sit in the living room. And my granny was always like, I don't see how he's not deaf, because he blares the hell out of that stuff. So I was like, I'll go get it for you, because my grandparents live right next door to us. And so I went and got the CD, and I'm like, when you get done listening to it, just give it back. Even though it was one of my favorite CDs at the time, I gave it to him, and I'm like, whenever you get done listening to it, just bring it back. I'm cool. And he's like, okay. And my granny said he listened to that song all the time. Well, he never brought the CD back. Ever. He never gave it back. And my mom would always be like, well, just go get it from him. He'll go give it to you. And I'm like, no, he likes to listen to it. I'm not going to take it, Well, when he passed away, that was one of his favorite songs at the time. So we printed some of the lyrics on it on his, little memoriam card. And we played that song. And I wasn't necessarily even going to play it, but my mom is like, go play your grandpa's favorite song. She's like, you should play that for him. So I played it, and I really wasn't thinking much about it, but like halfway through the song, I just started bawling. And the reason mainly because my granny had just given me that CD back. He had it all, like 2 or 3 years, and she's like, she brought me all this music that I had made him, and she brought me like all his cassette tapes, and she's like, here's your CD back. And it was really sad, all those years that I wanted it back. And that's the way I had to get it back, And so then we were playing it, and oh my gosh, I started bawling. I mean, it was ridiculous, and it was embarrassing how hard I cried. Like, I had to get up and leave. And I mean, it was bad. But it's called Private Emotion. Listen to it if you want. Like Ricky Martin is very cliche now. And but that's a really pretty song, and it reminds me of my grandpa, which is why it makes me sad. And I love that album though. That album is great. There's so many good dancey songs on there, and I like the song called I Count the Minutes. That's a really good one. And The Cup of Life is really good. Basically all of them. I love all of them. And I like Maria. Maria is really, really good. So okay, that's it, guys. I like this song too. Okay, we'll stop because I'm gonna jam. So okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.